Top 10 Best High Schools for Girls in Jamaica. Number 10. Merl Grove High School.
Merl Grove?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Merl Grove High School began as a preparatory school shortly before 1920 on Marverly Lane off Molynes Road. This was the home of Nathaniel Speid, a retired elementary school teacher. Sometime in 1920, the Speids moved to 77 Constant Spring Road, where the school continued in a little red two-roomed building in front of their residence. The number of students had increased to approximately 30 pupils, and soon after, the Little Red School entered a period of significant growth. The school's name is derived from the initials of the names of 5 children of the school's founders, Miriam, Effey, Reginald, Ruth and Lucille, to create Merl. The surrounding area had various fruit trees, hence the name Merl Grove. Notably, Merl Grove was the first secondary school in the island to introduce a Parent Teachers Association. That's the PTA. In 1955, at the request of Mr. Speid, the school was taken over by the Associated Gospel Assemblies and a period of accelerated expansion soon followed. The school became government grant aided in 1957 and thereafter became a school for girls. Reluctantly, Merl Grove had to stop admitting males. Merl Grove High attracts students from across the socio-economic spectrum of the Kingston metropolitan area and beyond. It has an enviable record of academic performance, particularly in English language. Individuals from both the student body and the faculty have gained prominence in the areas of leadership. In 2012, a student was named the Deputy Junior Mayor by the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation, that's the KSAC, and the 2 teachers were chosen by the Ministry of Education as part of a training team for colleagues in best practices in English. Number 9. Mount Alvernia High School.
Mount Alvernia High, it's time for your first minute.
Mount Alvernia High School opened its doors to students in 1925 as St. James Academy. This small boarding school then changed its name to Mount Alvernia Academy. The school was established by the Allegheny Franciscan Sisters in order to fill the need of the Cambridge University Junior Examinations and the London Royal School of Music Examinations. The number of students attending classes increased steadily over the years. In 1939, Mother Antonius, OSF, that's the Order of St. Francis, succeeded Mother Theophane as principal. At that time, the school's population was only 27. In 1943, a Center for Music Examinations for the Royal Schools of Music was established at Mount Alvernia, and thereafter the school was considered capable of presenting candidates for the Cambridge School Examination Certificate. In 1953, Senior Elion Madi became principal of the school and immediately began working towards having Mount Alvernia established as a grant-in-aid school. The curriculum was further enhanced and the qualified teachers with degrees were employed in order to meet the requirements of the Ministry of Education. Finally, in August 1959, Mount Alvernia became a grant-aided school with an enrollment of 71 students. Since then, the school's population have increased rapidly and new classrooms were added to keep pace with the growing numbers of students. Number 8. Bishop Gibson for girls. Bishop Gibson High School is situated at 2,000 feet above sea level in the town of Mandeville in Jamaica. Like most schools in Jamaica, Bishop Gibson has undergone a series of changes during its 50 years in existence. Bishop Gibson was founded in January 1962 by a former Bishop of Jamaica, the Right Reverend Percival William Gibson, and Mr. John Lord of Mandeville. Her Royal Highness, the Princess Alice of Athlone, opened the school on February 13, 1962, as an independent school to provide Christian education for girls. The old Newly Hotel, the main building, was converted to facilitate the needs of 16 boarders, 19 day girls and 4 members of staff, including acting headmistress, Mistress Somerville. In 3 short years, an assembly hall, called the Pickering Hall, a block of 5 modern classrooms and a laboratory were added. Number 7. Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha. On May 1, 1880, Jessie Paul, holding by the hand one lone orphan whom she had named Mary, walked up the path to Alpha Cottage. This was the beginning of the great work, which was later to bring wide acclaim for the Jamaican government, the civic community, and from poor parents who knew their children would find a home should they die, leaving them as orphans. 4 months later, on September 29th, Josephine Zimanes joined her friends while Louise Dugoyle was the last of 3 to take up residence at Alpha. In 1890, at the invitation of Bishop Charles Gordon, the Sisters of Mercy came to Jamaica, and the 3 ladies were accepted into the community. In 1894, Alpha Cottage, that had served as a home for the sisters and the orphans, were transformed into a high school for girls and became known as the Convent of Mercy Alpha Academy. Mother Mary Aquinas Kearns was officially named the first principal. The building was formally blessed and declared open on May 1, 1894. The first students were Ethelyn and Ivy Hodge and Leah and Ella Johnson. By 1918, enrollment had reached 100. It served as a secondary institution for upper and middle class children of Kingston and St. Andrew. The high school has had various name changes, among them the Little Flower Academy, Alpha Academy, and finally Convent of Mercy Academy, Alpha. Increasing enrollment and academic achievement brought recognition and approval to this institution, thus qualifying for assistance from the government in 1939. The present enrollment stands at approximately 1,400 students. The school originally was established as a small private high school in response to the need for educational and spiritual development of young women in Jamaica. The school soon made significant strides in curriculum development, co-curricular activities, and service clubs, as well as in sports, elocution, drama, and the fine arts. Although enrollments today numbers upwards of 1,300 students, the young women at the academy are all comfortably accommodated. This is due in part to the building expansion program that has taken place over the many years the school has been in existence. Number 6. Wolmer's Girls' School. This school was founded in 1729 after the death of John Wolmer, who left 2,300 in his will from his estate to start a free school in his parish. To this end, Wolmer started with an enrollment of 500 boys. Wolmer's school was relocated on several occasions within the parish of Kingston. The school first began in the house of Samuel Turpin and land between Port Royal Street and Arbor Street in 1736. In his will of 1734, Turpin left the annual rent from his house to Wolmer's. Thus, the school was named Wolmer's Free School at the time. In 1742, the trust bought 6 lots of land on Duke Street from Samuel Clark for £93. 2 buildings were constructed on the lots, one as a classroom and the other as lodgings for the headmaster. Mr. John Conron was paid £250 for the construction. The school was then moved from Arbor Street to the new location at Upper Duke Street sometime around 1742. When the headmaster Michael Mill died in 1755, the school was closed for 2 years until 1757. The governor of Jamaica, General Knowles, had the building leased to the government as a storage for public records. It was also used as a courthouse for the county of Surrey. When classes resumed in 1757, the school was relocated to rented premises at Parade and remained there until 1777. So in 1777, Wolmer's was relocated once again to Church Street, where the house of Mr. Bullock was leased to the school for 3 years for the sum of £120 per annum. In 1783, the property was bought for £900 and the Duke Street property was sold at public auction for £800. Additional land was bought in 1794 to the north of the school for £250. In 1807, the 2 northernmost parcels of land on the school's property were sold to the city of Kingston for the construction of a poorhouse. Wolmer's was briefly housed in the poorhouse. Between October 1811 and August 1812, Wolmer's occupied the Coke Chapel and East Parade, while the school was being refurbished. On January 14, 1907, an earthquake struck Kingston, and the school suffered damages. While repairs were being carried out, Wolmer's remained at Church Street between 1907 and 1909. However, a decision was made to find a more suitable site because the school had outgrown its location. In 1908, land at Quebec Lodge was acquired to house the Boys and Girls School. Quebec Lodge was the site of the Jamaica exhibition of 1891. Located north of Racecourse, later called George V Memorial Park, now National Heroes Park, the present site of Wolmer's Boys and Wolmer's Girls School. Wolmer's was then opened at its present location in January 1909. This is part 1 of a part 2 series. Look out for the next 5. Which schools you think are gonna be in the top 5? let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching.
Delete Jamaica.